Namaskar दोस्तों, welcome to channel Toxicology on board. In this video, we'll be discussing about another DABT topic that is inhalation toxicology, particle deposition by impaction. So let's directly dive into the question. So in this question, we'll be seeing this topic is related with respect to particle size and in which part of the respiratory system that particle will go and deposit and what kind of method. Let's understand in detail. So let's go through the question. This, as usual, this question is taken from American Board of Toxicology from the Design Executive and Interpret Toxicology Study Quiz from the DABT site, which is no longer there in the ABT website. So, particle deposition by impaction is most prevalent in what region of human lung? So, we should know about the respiratory tract, which part of the lung, and what the particle size and what mechanism, whether it is impaction, dispersion, sedimentation, that we should be knowing. So, the option is first generation tracheobronchial. Option B is bronchial tree. Option C is bronchiolar alveolar. Option D is nasopharyngeal. The right answer is in the green text, that is option A, first generation tracheobronchial. Okay, so let us understand what is the explanation and the reference which is given by the ABT site. Also, you have to go back and check Casseret and Dole ninth edition textbook. Please see page number 804 as well as 805. In these two pages, they have discussed about this concept, and this reference is given by the ABT only. Okay, so let's see what is the explanation and reference. The deposition of the particles in the respiratory system occurs either by, see, as I told you, there are four different things are there. One is interception, then is impaction, sedimentation, and diffusion as a result of inertia. Okay, the movement of the particles when they collide with each other, no, as a result of inertia, particles between 2.5 to 10 microns in aerodynamic diameter. So if you look at these particles, no, there will be the diameter will be there. So those particles which are having 2.5 to 10 micrometer aerodynamic diameter would diameter would be expected to deposit in the first branches of the airway tract. Okay, here only first branches of the airway tract, these size of particles will be deposited 2.5 to 10 micron. Okay, this is the inertial impaction. The method is impaction. Okay, then particle size more than 10 micrometer would be deposited by impaction, okay, in the nose as well as in the nose as well as in the oropharynx. But these regions are outside the lung, so we have to understand there is a trick in this question. They asked which part of the human lung they are asking, so you have to be very careful while answering such questions because the questioner will try to trick you. Okay, so let's with this question we'll also learn about the four concepts, that is interception, impaction, sedimentation, and diffusion. I would also request you to go back to my channel. In my one of the early 10 videos, I have discussed about the concept of this respiratory system and particle size. In this also there will be a revision. We will be discussing all these four: interception, impaction, sedimentation, as well as diffusion. So let me directly explain you about the particle deposition. Particle deposition in the respiratory system occurs through interception, impaction, sedimentation, diffusion. This you have to remember it directly. Okay, then next, which mechanism dominates? Mechanism here is what? These are the four different mechanisms. Depends largely on the size, on the shape, density of the particle, right? If it is highly denser, it will go back and deposit in the lower parts of the respiratory tract. That is towards the end of the your alveolar branches, as well as the airflow velocity, which varies throughout the respiratory system. Throughout our respiratory system, no, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, alveoli, their branches, the airflow is not airflow velocity is not constant, not same uniform throughout this respiratory tract. So it varies throughout the respiratory tract. That is what it means. It says. So let us understand what is inertial impaction now. Larger, heavier particle, typically more than 5 micrometer. So the particle size more than 5 micrometer, they will often deposit in the upper respiratory tract. Okay, in your upper upper respiratory tract only they will get deposited via inertial impaction. So mechanism is first one is inertial impaction, right? Especially at the airway branching points. So here also in the figure you can see 10 to 30 they have given. Actually oropharynx, trachea 1.7 there is. See every diagram will be little bit of different with the units, but you have to remember this one the particle size more than 5 micrometer. The mechanism is impaction and they are deposited in the upper respiratory tract branches. So mechanism, let's understand what it is. When air changes directly, when air changes direction sharply, particularly with significant inertia, cannot follow the turn in the airflow. Even if there is a turn in the airflow, it cannot follow that particular turn. Instead, they continue along their original path and collide with the airway wall. Okay, that's why it is called impaction. Impaction is going and bombarding with the wall. Okay, here the airway wall it is. Location occurs primarily in the nose as well as in the throat as well as in the trachea, bronchiole, larger bronchi where air velocity is high and changes direction frequently. Okay, this is you have to remember. So which part of the region that you have to remember. And what are the controlling factors? Increases with higher air velocity and larger particle mass. The here you can one point has spoken about was mentioned about was about the density of the particles. So that was about the inertial impaction. So let us see what is the next one, that is sedimentation. Medium-sized particles, typically 1 to 5 micrometer. Earlier was more than 5 micrometer. This is 1 to 5 micrometer. Settle out of the airstream. Air is flowing in this direction. These particles will come out of the in the direction of the airstream due to gravity because of the higher density or molecular mass. Because of the they will deviate from the actual airstream flow mechanism. As airflow slows down in the smaller airways, the force of gravity becomes more significant, causing particles to settle into the walls of the airways and alveoli. So these particles which are 1 to 5 micrometer, they are going away from the streamline, and they, because of the higher density and less airflow, they get deposited in this airways and alveoli. Location most effective in the small bronchioles. Till now there was only up to trachea, here small bronchioles and the alveolar region where air velocity is lowest and the particles have longer residence time. They try to be in these regions for a longer time. Controlling factors are increases with the larger particle size and longer breath hold duration. So the based on the breathing this one how long you're breathing a certain respiratory breathing rate will be there on that also it depends. What sedimentation. So let's understand what is the next one, that is diffusion. Very small ultra fine particles, typically less than 0.5 micrometer. First one was 5 micrometer, second was 1 to 5 micrometer, third one is less than 0.5 micrometer are deposited by diffusion. First was for inertial impaction, second one was sedimentation, third one is diffusion. Okay, mechanism, these particles are small enough to be influenced by random collisions. There will be random collisions within the air particles with the gas molecules, a phenomena known as Brownian motion. Earlier we have learnt about in the first one inertia. Okay, now it is about Brownian motion. Okay, this constant random movement causes them to stray away from the air streamlines and contact with the alveolar wall. Location, if you see, this diffusion is primarily affects the most distal parts of the lung, such as respiratory bronchioles, alveoli, where airflow is virtually stopped. Whereas in the case of sedimentation, what is happening? Airflow is slow, but here almost airflow is stopped. Controlling factors are becomes more significant with decreasing particle size. As the particle size decreases, more is towards diffusion. The type of mechanism is diffusion. Okay, and the larger residence time in the lung. They try to remain in these parts of the region of the lung for a longer period. So let's see the last one, that is interception. Okay, interception is a significant mechanism for elongated or fibrous particles. Okay, fibers will be there. No example they have given asbestos. There long fibers are there, fibrous particles. Okay, the nature of the particle. Okay, mechanism. A particle is deposited, one of its edges or ends make contact with the airway. So for example, there is a long particle is there. One of their edges, they are come in contact with the airway surface. In such case, interception takes place even if its center of mass remains within the airflow path. For example, I don't know how I should. This is a long elongated fiber is there. One end is attached to the airway, even though major part of the body of this particle is having higher density. Still, since one part is attached to the airway, still it will be attached. You mean to say it will follows interception. It is saying okay. The next question, deposition sites depend on the length of the fiber. Longer the fiber, okay, and the size of the airway. Okay, whatever the in which part of the trachea or bronchiole it has entered, that size of the airway depends whether it is narrow or long or like that. It will be depending. Long fibers are more likely to be intercepted in the conducting airways. Okay, and the controlling factors are increases with the length of the particle. So, hope from this video, I have already summarized particle size, dominant mechanism, deposition location. So, you try to remember these things. So, greater than 5 micron, 1 to 5 micron, less than 0.5 micron. Type of the mechanism, inertial impaction, sedimentation, diffusion, and which part of the region. Okay, and last one was about fibers, interception, airways depending on the fiber length. In this, they might ask you about the asbestos. In continuation with this, also read about mesothelioma, asbestos fibers, how they have affected the laborers who are working in this particular industry who are dealing with the asbestos. No, there is a subcare type of diseases are there. Based on the respiratory tract, no, there are diseases like silicosis. Those people who are working with sugarcane what is it, dust or coal dust, there are some kind of respiratory occupational diseases and the nature of the particle. So with this topic you try to read those type of, there are separate disease names for based on the type of the exposure or particle has taken place. So hope from this video you will able to understand the relationship between the particle size, the mechanism, as well as the deposition. So one question you will definitely get on this, or you will get a question on the disease like mesothelioma, or you'll get silicosis is caused by, bagosis is caused by, like bagosis is caused by the sugar cane husk will be the leftover material will be after extraction of the juice will be there in the sugar. So like that the disease condition and the that also they will be asking. So try to remember those things. Okay. Thank you so much. Be curious. For any questions, you can always write a mail to arya.priyanka18@gmail.com. Like, subscribe, and follow my YouTube channel, Toxicology on Board. Thank you so much. All the best for your exam.